They're trying to act like they're trying to make our lives easier, but what they're really doing is just like gathering and gathering and gathering data. And I think that's where the new shit is like the riches are in data, actually. How much data do you have on whatever you're trying to do? I don't know.
Data mining. No,
Yeah.
we're talking about
it's culture mining. It's all of it.
Culture mining.
Yeah, it's all of it, man.
Ooh.
It's just me.
We feeling good like. We feeling good like. We feeling good like. Amazing. This is about where I come from.
The streets where they grew us at, mirrored scenes from Miramax. I wasn't banging that, I wasn't banging gats. This is not glorified, I wasn't interested. This is pre-gentrified, I was an instrument.
I'm here with DefSounds.
Broop, broop, broop.
The dopest name in the game.
Hey, thanks, man. It's short for definitive sound.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There we go.
So it's like triple entendres.
I feel it. So yeah, he's a really fly dude, super spiritual dude.
Thank you.
Music and sound is so unique. Feels like he's like painting with flavors in your ear. So
shout out Craig Mack. Yeah.
But I just want to sit down with you and like.
Dude, thank
chop
you.
it up.
Thank you for having me,
sure.
G. Like for real. It's great to just sit down and just bounce ideas.
Yeah.
Low pressure, no pressure. Just hang out with friends, really.
For sure. All right. One thing that I'm really interested in is like how people start their days.
Yeah.
So like, what is your like morning ritual?
You know, adding a ritual has really changed everything for me. Like, honestly. So it's I feel like there's certain days. So I always start with a meditation. Like I put my phone on airplane mode so that I wake up without looking at it and expecting anything.
Right.
Because I noticed what was happening to me was I was checking my phone first thing in the morning, and it was altering my mood towards my day, like the full thing.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know, I need to know what I think first, and then see what the world is about, and then I can approach it from a position of more strength and a position of like being less influenced by either the demands, because what happens is you have a text, someone's asking you a question,
right,
and then you're zoomed. Like literally our phones are like teleportation devices, you know. And so I think we get like literally somebody could call you and now we're here. Like it's like I'm in your world. You know, they might be at the grocery store, you hear the grocery store, you're in their environment in that way. So I was like, okay, let me fill myself up.
Right.
And then I have more to give to the world. So I start every morning with, I mean, it's just a 10-minute meditation. It's not even that long. Just start with a 10-minute meditation, and then I make sure that like I hydrate myself. Like I'm looking at, usually I don't always hit this mark, but I try to do like the lemon and cayenne agave in the morning hot.
What's that do?
So that's like boosting your immunity, your immune system.
So you said lemon, cayenne, agave.
Yeah.
Like how much? Just a teaspoon of each?
You know what? It's all over the place. Like it's all over. I feel like the proportions, we can do that. Sometimes add a little bit of ginger.
Because I've been doing ginger powder, apple cider vinegar.
Oh, that's where it's at too. Yeah, that's where it's at too. Yeah. Mine's sweeter. it's like I need a little bit of agave sweetener. But so I usually try to do that, and then you know, try to hit the gym if I can. And get some cardio. I hit the yoga class. You know, I realized that I couldn't just, for some reason, there's something about me, I don't just do yoga on my own. Like I kind of need a classroom environment and that, you know, that demand, because I'll slack, you know, on myself. So I'm still working on the discipline side of things, but yeah, that's usually, I usually hit the meditation. Sometimes it's a chant too. It just depends where I'm at.
What kind of chant?
Oh man, it's there's this one. Yo, I need to find it. You don't mind if I find it, right?
Yeah, no, you're fine. Wait, and with your meditation, you don't use any apps to do it. You just do it.
I do. I actually use Insight Timer.
Insight Timer.
Yeah, and so what it does, when I just want to hit the 10, just blank,
boom.
I like it. Just see, they already got the Basu bowl.
Okay.
And you hit start.
Are you ready? Okay.
And it has the water, and you're just like, I literally, it's okay. Like, here's the thing is, like, I'm always thinking. So it's okay that I'm thinking. Right. I just have to tell myself, you're thinking. Now just think about your breath. Your breath. And I realized that I could breathe through anything.
What do you mean?
Well, when I say that, it's kind of like I realize when I'm having a tough situation, or even because I'm also an empath, like people, I'm practicing this. I may not always nail it, but I'm practicing more empathy.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Because even as somebody who I try to do my best at being a decent person out here, it's hard for me to be empathetic when, and this is just me being real, it's hard for me to be empathetic when people have enough money to solve a lot of problems. When you have more money than me, it's harder for me to be empathetic for you. Because like, bro, like I'm dealing with this and this, you know? But I'm working on my empathy. So when people, sometimes in conversations, you're shifting weight. People are putting weight. And then you receive that weight. But if you're not built up in your own, you take that weight and you might crumble underneath somebody else's problem. But I try to breathe through it. When people tell me some heavy shit, I breathe through it. Right. Because I'm like, damn. You know, you hit me with something. Like, wow.
Wow.
And I realized too, when somebody gets shot, the way you get through it is breathing. You know, they tell you to breathe. Yeah. That's the thing they always say. And then it's like, then when somebody's giving birth, telling you to breathe.
Okay.
You could breathe through anything. Like, that's how I look at it. It's
so
like,
if you
man,
don't breathe, you're like, you're adding to your own death or pain. Or whatever.
Yeah. Or I feel like if you don't breathe, like, what are we doing? Like, are we just like, I realized that I was trying to breathe silently in this way where I felt like I wasn't taking up any room.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So I was like,
that.
Yeah, it's like, I'm just like keeping it to myself, you know? And it's like people don't do that because it's loud. It's you know.
So when someone's giving you something heavy, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel it in your solar plexus in your chest, and you got it like you actually have to like change your posture?
Yeah,
I've noticed that I've had to like change my posture and be like okay, I'm listening to you.
Yeah,
but your shit is so heavy.
It's so heavy. It's so heavy.
Yeah.
Hold on, this is the chant too. While I'm here.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Yo, it's such a dope chant. I really like it. I'm really into it. There's only one bookmark on here. Is this chant.
So this app, they got all these different teachers and teachers.
Yeah, but I don't really vibe with it. I literally just do the 10-minute by myself, or this chant, which is the I Am Love chant. And I just like every day, just like, but also I think I might want to sample it too. Then I breathe. Yeah, man. So.
And does it, like, what does it mean?
I am love.
Oh, no.
So that's just all I'm saying. I am love. I am love.
So
I'm gonna manifest that today. Whatever the situation is, I need to be love in the situation.
Right.
That's my role. Like literally, you read a script and you're like, oh, I'm love today. Cool. Like, what are love's lines? What are love's lines? I love you. It's great.
Great. I can do that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So that's the only chant I really am doing right now. I'll probably broaden it out, but that to me also, it made me realize, because I'm more of a rapper and a poet than a singer,
right?
But I sometimes sing, And I realized that singing, 90% of singing is listening.
How you say
more than it is you hitting that note. You need to listen to where you are. And listen to where, like, let's say, you know, like when somebody plays a C, right? Then you want to match that. You have to listen in order to reproduce it. So my thing is, like, when I'm doing that chant, I'm listening, and then I'm breathing, and then I'm more in rhythm with it the more I listen. So that even helped me as a singer, is like, let's listen and then breathe. It's listening and breathing, listening and breathing. And then you can take that all a trillion different ways. Really, yeah.
Divine, don't force the spirit. Don't force it. Inside, I am sincere with your time, my destination.
So, like, a lot of the music you make, when I listen to it, I can't listen to it regular, like, on a phone in the living room. I gotta listen to it in my car. Because I feel the difference. Because
that's the design.
Yeah, and you're storytelling through your design, because you're a producer, you're a rapper, you're a poet, you're doing all these things. And how do you, what's your take on storytelling and how it shifts?
Yeah, I think the way that I'm telling the story, something I realize is the truth is the most interesting thing you got. Like, honestly. And I have this song, it's not out yet, but called 12th Ave.
Okay.
And that song is about the one time I was selling candy, like as a kid, you know, going door to door or whatever it was.
Dog, just like I'm flipping.
Yo, we out here with the Skittles,
pops.
baby. I know y'all need this diabetes now, but it was. I was a kid. I was about like 9 or something like that. I don't remember exactly, because I feel like there's a lot of my memory that, as a young person, I might have blocked a lot of things out.
Right.
But there was this portion of time where I remember going door to door. And I remember there being a drive-by and just like instinctually just ducking and rolling into the bushes. And that's all I remember about that.
Right.
So I was like, I decided to delve into every single detail of that experience, because that I could have not been here.
Right.
When it comes down to it. So I was like, yo, let's just talk about the two intersections of the street, which is 12th Ave and Jefferson. That's where I grew up. So we're all at this impasse. That was my impasse, where it could have all taken a whole different, you know, story. My story could have been completely different. So I don't think we have to make anything up.
Right.
So my creative process is really about focusing on one idea and then expanding it and thinking about all the truth of what I received from that.
So how do you delve into it? Because that's a painful experience.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will, you know, go into it and be like, oh yeah, it's dope because it's risky.
Right.
It's dope because it's that. But like,
and that's the thing too. Is like, I even say in that song, you know, this isn't glorified. Like I'm saying that, you know, like that's, you know, it's like, you know, the streets that they grew us at, Mirror to Miramax. I wasn't banging gats. I wasn't banging that. This isn't glorified. This is pre-gentrified. You know, like I wasn't interested. You know, like even saying like I wasn't even interested in that side of where I grew up at.
You're from South Central,
right?
Yeah,
South Central LA. Yeah.
Well, what you said, 12th and what?
12th and Jefferson.
12th and Jefferson.
Yeah.
That's not far from USC.
Yep. So that's where I was at, and like for me it was something that I didn't put in my music because I was never a gangbanger, and I was never. But just say that.
Right.
Just say, yo, I wasn't a gangbanger. I wasn't banging cats. I wasn't banging that.
Yeah.
You know. And it's like, but what about the people that lived in that neighborhood that weren't that, or wasn't surrounded? Like, we were surrounded by that, but there's a lot of people that live there and nobody's telling their story.
Right.
And what it's like to be in that environment, but also not glorifying that. Like, not glorifying, like, yeah, niggas got killed every day on my block. It wasn't, because it wasn't like that neither.
Yeah, right.
like you just got to be accurate with what you're saying. So, and then I brought it to another part of, like, talking about my relationship with guns, even, like, saying, like, you know, it was, like, you know, like, I used to like block that idea out of my mind that even happened to me. You know, it was just like I would Serge Ibaka trying to block it out. Like that's like one of the lines in there. But I was just like, and every time I heard, you know, backfire, you know, cars backfire back in the day. We don't have those no more. But it's like when I heard, you know, whenever I heard a bucket backing out, I would block it out. You know, like trying to just like, oh, is that gunshot? Is that same thing? And it ring in my ear, ring in my memory.
The PTSD.
Right. And so it's like, you know, but those are things that we just like, you just rock through it. But you don't know how many people actually can identify with that.
Right.
And understand that. And I think one of the lies that you're told, I think, is like, if you're not hard, if you're not this, you're not that, you can't talk about street shit or nothing like that. And it's like, yo, it doesn't have to be street shit, it could just be you.
Right.
What is your experience? What is your relationship with the world? And I literally would just sit down, and when you're talking about extrapolating from your experience, I literally would sit down and just think about everything that I remember about that moment.
In this book, it's called The Alchemy of Self-Healing. And very interesting, because she talks about how our pain is directly correlated to the stories that we tell ourselves about.
Totally.
So in it, you know, I once, you know, back in the day, I played football, I tore ACL. And the injury happened, the surgery happened, but there's a certain amount of pain of the incident, of the letdown, of all that stuff that I hold on to, that I'm still working through, and it's holding itself in the thing. So in that, it talks about doing these meditations and doing these things to go back to that moment without fear. And retell myself a story about that.
Well, I think the healing for me was that my story, I was thinking that my story was not important. Like, cause I don't have a street background, I'm not a street dude. So
your parents are Panamanian
and Belizean, and they are hyper religious. So I always felt like I didn't, like, even when I first started rapping, I didn't think I should rap. I was making beats first. I didn't think I should rap because I wasn't street enough. I don't have anything to say. Literally. like it was like, I don't have anything to say about any of these topics. I don't, you know, I'm not out here slanging da-da-da.
Especially when you grew up in the 90s. Because 90s was...
Oh, it was.
I remember I was reciting like DMX.
Yeah.
Like it was nothing.
I listened to all of it.
Wanna ride?
Yeah.
Like,
it was extreme.
He was really murdering people.
Yeah.
We were banging
loving it. Yeah, Ja Rule, all of that.
Yeah,
it was Jay-Z at that time, you know, like I mean, and then especially West Coast music was like, you know, it was DJ Quick. I was listening to that a lot.
But DJ Quick kind of got off that. He
was smooth. He was smooth. Yeah. Rhythmalism was my shit. Like that was a great record. But I had to find like, who am I in this? And this entire album, I just decided that I'm gonna own my story. I've been making music for 11 years. And this is the first album I felt like, okay, I'll start talking about me now. This whole time I've been very observant. I just observe the world, and and you know, you let it run through you, and whatever it is, it comes through your filter. But it wasn't about me. It was like, look at the world, it's crazy.
Weird stuff.
It's
weird.
It's like, isn't it crazy?
What was that song? What was that line in the, when she looks like Precious?
Right, exactly.
Weird things.
Yeah, weird things. We said it's like people that eat veggie meat but don't like lettuce. You know, it's like, that's cool, but like, what about you? You know, you observe a lot of things. So I was like, okay, I finally feel comfortable talking about this moment. And I had no idea, like you said, like how healing that was for me. you know. So hopefully people like it.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It's the truth, and it's gonna find like the audience that needs it is gonna get healing.
Exactly.
And that was one of the things that we were dealing with as far as like the Light Warriors. Like, we made this movie, we think it's amazing, we got awards from it or whatever, but at the end of the day, it has to get to the person that it was intended to.
Right.
And sometimes film festivals aren't necessarily the right route.
Right.
Yeah, because the kid that has to go through a war-torn city isn't going to film festivals.
No.
in Utah.
No, they don't see. They're not able to see themselves in it. Yeah.
So, I'm Nigerian American. You're first generation.
Yeah.
How? Because identity is a huge situation. In that.
Absolutely.
Because when you go to school, you're not necessarily
Yeah.
You're black. You're like, because I went
Yeah.
I grew up in the suburbs, and I was like one of the only black kids, but I wasn't a black kid. So
you're not like the rest of them.
Yeah, it's like I'm eating plantain at the crib. I'm eating plantain.
Me too.
Food, right? Like so.
Yeah.
Life is different.
Totally.
And then you're isolated, but also categorized,
Right.
and then different things. So
Totally, man. I think that's why I called this record Colored. Was because I wanted to own my perspective, talk about my experiences, and I identify as a black man in America, but I'm colored. Like it's my perspective is colored. I'm not the normal Negro that is like family from Alabama, or Mississippi that moved to LA. And that's a lot of my friends have that background. So I felt like with this record, it's like it's the colored experience. It's the experience of being a person that is other in this situation. And I think I grew up, my parents were getting me more ready for heaven than they were for college. That's like their goal was like be in the world but not of the world. That was like what they preached, Did you
go to like the churches on the side of the street on Jefferson, like those?
I went.
Churches,
No.
Like,
Not a big church. I went to 54th Street Seventh-day Adventist Church.
Okay.
So I grew up Seventh-day Adventist. That's another thing. Is like.
Right.
I went to church on Saturdays, and I had to explain that to every single person that I met. It's like, wait, you go.
So you didn't play sports and stuff like that?
I did play sports.
Okay.
I did. There was a church league.
Oh, okay,
Church basketball was crazy.
Yeah, okay.
Saturday nights, it would go up at Altadena. So it was just like any other church, but my parents didn't really. My dad would tell me certain things about growing up, like don't even wear hats while you drive. You don't want to get pulled over.
Right.
There were things like that, but I don't think blackness was like pushed on me more than religion was.
Right.
It was more like, yo, you're a child of God over everything.
Right.
That's your first citizenship. Then your second citizenship is a person of color, right. And then you're an American. Like all those things. So that's a perspective,
right?
And nobody's talking about that. Right. Like we have the black perspective. Like there's even like Chicago has a perspective,
right.
And people are going in on that, but nobody's talking about like, what about being first generation and feeling like you're not black enough, or you don't, my family would go to other family gatherings and like dance to soca music,
right?
But we didn't do the electric slide,
I had this conversation the other day, like styrofoam plates with the electric slide. I was like, I didn't do it. I was like, I guess I'm not. But like, it's a black thing. I was like, bro, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. But I do take my shoes off at the door. I don't know if that's a black thing or if that's an Asian thing or whatever. But my house, we couldn't do it.
Yeah, that's
specific.
Right. It's very specific. Yeah. So I think having, like, all I've ever wanted to do as an artist is add to the conversation. I think music is this vast conversation that's continuously happening, and I just want to, like, I raise my hand, hey man, I got a couple of things I was thinking about. and maybe it should be in the lexicon. I don't know, but I don't feel like I'll ever be able to add something new to the conversation if I don't get to the truth of my internal conversation. And so that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
And in the process, I hope some good shit comes out. Like,
doing it, man.
Yeah. Thank you, man. Thank you.
Like, I feel a lot of futurism from your lyrics and from your style and everything.
Yeah.
How do you go about that? Like, what does it feel being in the future and people are barely in the present? Like,
right. Barely even present. Yeah.
How does that do?
I think I've always been obsessed with what's missing almost. Like, in my mind, I've been always thinking about, that's dope, but like, like, what's the next thing? Where do we go after this thing? And sometimes that messes with my presence too. But I like to think that my music is really optimistic about the current situation. It's truthful, but optimistic. And I think that when I think about Afrofuturism, and then there's also a school of thought that is Afro-pessimism. And that has to do with understanding that we are still living in post-slavery days. It's like looking at it like
Post-imperialism,
all of that, and that is not something we can erase, and we will never be viewed as 100% citizens or 100% men out here, or equal rather, because of the past, right? So that's Afro-pessimism, and it's like we need to have our own thing because within their game, we can't be on the same level because of this past thing. And I think there's something right about that, but I also feel like we cannot continue to perpetuate segregation, and we can't continue to come back to these old ideas. I call it the old OS. So I'm like, I got the new OS, and I'm trying to run that every day. So I think that something that I try to put into my music is this idea that if we the only thing that's actually real is the present. So if we figure out what to do in the present, that creates a better future. And so I'm just like, I want options. Like as a listener, more as a listener. I think as a listener, I wanna hear an artist that's well-rounded. That's not this one way or this one thing, and and so I try to create what I'm looking for. And that's where I think the Afrofuturism and that kind of influenced Sun Ra. He was fly. He was from a whole other. You didn't have to hear his music to know what that was about. And I try to do it in my own way, and be comfortable.
See, so one thing I'm on right now is comfortability. And sustainability.
Absolutely.
And lifestyle. And there's certain things. So I'm not. Yeah, come on.
Go for it.
I'm not.
It's a cute puppy.
Yeah, right. What's up?
That's Bodie.
What's up, Bodie? All right, Bodie. Peace, Bodie.
Little Bodie Drake.
I'm not fully vegan. But I want the best things in my body. Right, so I'm organic.
The best version of whatever that is.
Whatever that is,
we need
body.
Premium fuel.
Exactly. This is a Mercedes Benz. I'm putting it in my body, and I'm charting it. But at the same time, there comes how much time are you spending on cooking a day? How much are you doing this? And how ridiculous is it that you're at a restaurant and you know they don't have the food, and you just like so it's organic, fish or something. It's like, no, it's not fresh cut.
You already know.
You're like, all right,
free range.
I guess I'm gonna get the guacamole. Is this okay? Bro. Why'd you even come here? And it's like, I can't kick it with friends. Because at home they call me organic. My mom is like, organic is in the house.
Hey.
It's like, And like they're like, we're eating salad now. I'm like, you got the salad from Sam's? Okay, the salad's gonna last for 4 weeks in the refrigerator.
Yeah.
That's not something that's gonna be pushed through your system.
Nah, so that's gonna last in your system the same amount of time. Like, dang, we still digesting that lettuce.
Right.
Yeah,
so
man.
What are the measures? What are the practical measures that you've been able to take to make your life sustainable within the realms of whatever you eat, with the financial things?
Because I think that's the hardest part is financially being able to eat as healthy as you want.
Right.
My things are always think about what you actually want to eat, and less about what you cannot eat. Like, what do I actually want? Like, I want tacos. like that's what I want.
Yeah.
So let me think about, is there another way I can get the carnitas? Okay, let's get jackfruit. Actually, a friend of mine just gifted me a jackfruit plant, so I'm taking care of one right now, and I gotta plant it within the next week. It's looking good. It's looking really good.
Do they give you instructions and all that stuff?
Nah, I'm on the internet. I'm on the internet. I'm like, how do you raise a jackfruit? Right? Yeah. I think I'm gonna change the name to Michael Jackfruit. Like we gonna do that.
Yeah, you moonwalking.
Yeah, it's like, I see you, Michael. I see you.
So, all right.
But yeah, practical measures is thinking about what you want versus what you can't have. I also think that allowing yourself allotting time in the morning for prep, or making a list of what you want before you go to the grocery store. As basic as that shit sounds, you can't just pull up and just, even Trader Joe's, they only have one cheese that's actually vegan. The rest of it has casein in it.
Yeah.
And it's soy. So why do we have casein and soy cheese? I feel like, if you're not eating cheese, bro, like already, that's a huge choice.
Right.
Like cheese is delicious. Like it's great. Damn.
Pizza.
That was the last thing to go for me.
Really,
was cheese. Yeah, I was still on cheese for the longest. So my parents raised me vegan. My mom was making her own cheese from cashews, her own salad dressing. To this day, you pull up to the house, she's making that salad dressing. She's doing it. So I was raised where there was a lot of prep.
Okay.
That's just a part of it.
Right.
And I was just like, and that's, I think, another reason my parents 7-Day Adventists, Saturday was just a day off from everything.
Right.
So my mom would cook the night before, and then we just have people over and just eat food, chill all day. So that was like their thing after church, and so then I kind of saw it as normal, having time to make food.
Yeah.
So I think figuring out what you want, then being like, okay, I need to make the list of the proper ingredients so that I won't skip any steps, and then understanding that there's an easy solution for everything. One thing I am working on is like getting off the microwave. You know what I'm saying? Like, those dinners, that's good, dude.
It takes forever to It doesn't take forever, but
just 50 minutes.
I'm washing a lot of pots.
Totally. Yeah, pots all day.
I'm washing pots.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to.
I'm still I think it's really important that people know that it's a lifelong journey. It's not something, and what you don't want is to wait for something to happen to you, to wait for yourself to get sick, to wait for a diagnosis in order to change your habits in your life. Because we all know what's good for us. We all know. It's like really, I think also linking up with people, I think it's been a lot easier because my partner is also vegan. Linking up with people that are on that same belief and that push you to be better, because I know the one time when I slipped into meat eating in my early 20s, I did that for like 2 years. Out of my whole life, I ate meat for 2 years. And I was doing it really based on like who I was around, and trying to like not be the dude that ordered a salad on a first date with a girl. Like I didn't want that pressure. So the peer pressure was like kind of weird for me. But finding somebody that aligns with you.
Peer pressure, dang.
It's a real thing. And I mean, I'm older now, so I don't think I'm as shifty or I'm not as shaky of a warrior.
Right.
So I think also living in Cali, man, like there's so many options.
Yeah.
It's really crazy.
Yeah.
I would also advise to get a cookbook of something you're interested in and start your experiments.
Okay.
You know, that's what really got me, because it's like, damn, I can do like my Indian food from scratch curry game is pretty strong.
Wow. So so you're focused on like what you can do.
Right.
Again, focus on what you want. Focus on what you can do rather than focus on
what I can't do. I can't have ribs no more. It's like
it's abundance of
there's so many things. And what are you really eating when you're eating food? You're really eating seasoning and sauce. Nobody just picks the meat up and just eat that shit. Nobody does that. So you need to treat whatever it is that you're doing the same with that same kind of care that you would treat your meat, you know? Like I just think it's kind of weird that people like hate tofu, but nobody's really made it right. Like my mom used to make scrambled tofu. Nutritional yeast, I will say, nutritional yeast, if you want something to taste kind of more like dairy, that is a key ingredient. Nutritional yeast is fire.
Okay.
And Bragg's, liquid aminos, cocoa aminos. Change your life. It will.
This my antithesis. Picture this living conditions. This is photosynthesis. My memory photogenic. This 12th Avenue Jefferson. That was my innocence. That's the beginning of this was my genesis. Surrounded by Dorsey and Crenshaw. Wrote what my pen saw. Wrote where we came from. Can't take my skin off. My skin isn't a trend, nah, this ain't the show, fam, no, this ain't a spin-off, nah. And this is what I'm born with, birth with a birthright, reverse the verse like, nah, this ain't my first life, this feeling is good like, raps at the good life, this feeling is
The Women's March was yesterday,
yeah,
and you were just talking about like, tell your truth, because where do we go next?
Right.
There's a lot of stuff that's going on in the film industry, and people are getting
It's a shakeup.
And it's a shakeup, and it's well needed, it's well deserved. But it's having people, men, skeptical about speaking up, because you saw what happened with, different
Aziz
or James Franco, who have been like, okay, I want this, but then they're, in the past they might have been trying to holler, or they worked in a different way. So what can men do to do the what is the place for men in that? Because Garcetti was talking about that.
Well, I think for me personally, I think the best thing men can do is take accountability for, I've been a shit person. Like, I might have pressured a girl into doing something that she didn't want to do. That's one thing we've never heard men say. Right. Being like, I understand, like, all these different...
Should you say that on social media? And
I think, honestly, if you have done that, you might as well.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you've done it, if you're wearing a Me Too pin and you used to press women like that, like, be like, in the past, I've been one of these shitty men that I no longer want this to spread. So I have to reevaluate itself. Right. Like when I saw the Aziz thing, I had to look at myself, like when are the times that I've maybe participated in pressuring a woman thinking that it was okay?
Right.
Or when were the times where it was like where I wasn't fully present. And so I have to deal with that.
Right.
And yes, it is a part of how we are socialized. It has become normalized and socially acceptable for men to be on the hunt, But now we're in a new OS, so now we have to update. It doesn't mean that the old phone, there's a part of that. We can't deny our past. We have to say, because that's the thing even about racism is like, every white person has participated in racism. So to be like, and yes, it is an accepted thing to be racist right now in this system. That is acceptable.
Right.
But who do I want to be today? So I think that's what men have to look at, and we have to look at ourselves, and we have to look at our brothers And when we see our brothers doing some shitty shit, it's like, bro, you know better.
Yeah.
Like, I ain't gotta chastise you. I just need to remind you of who you're trying to be. You know?
Yeah.
And if you're not trying to be, then that's probably not my brother.
Right. True.
And if you can't check your brother, then you know.
Because even at that, from that culture or whatever, right now, you might get up with somebody that you were cool with back in the day, and they'll pull up on the spot and be like, yo, where the hoes at? And
Right.
Yo, like...
Yo, chill.
Listen, like... Don't you got a girl, like, you trying to be a better person, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to kind of check them, because they're probably saying that because of who y'all used to be.
Totally.
And they're like, yo, I thought you were...
Who it used to be, or what they think is socially acceptable.
Yeah.
What they think is, like, normal and shit. But that's not normal anymore, and so it's like, yo, to say that I never had a friend that was on that shit is like, that's a lie. Yeah. So it's like, but I actually, like, personally, I've never really rocked that way, mainly because I just didn't see that actually, like, that doesn't work. Like, like that's not even dope. Like, not quality, you know. Like I was looking for a quality thing, and maybe, you know, a lot of times people ain't looking for that, and so my path fortunately hasn't aligned with people that are on some fuck shit too often. Right. But it's okay. It's okay to admit where we've been, and say that's not who I choose to be today. Who am I trying to be today? And understand that we are trying to do generations of work in a week. Yeah, you know, it's a lot going on, and it's just like, yo, I'm just gonna try and be a better person. Who do I want to be today? And there's people that are not examining themselves. Right. And so,
check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Chickity check. Like, got to, bro.
Because you're gonna wreck yourself. Like, that was one of the things that hit me. Like, it's like, all right, whatever you're doing to yourself. Right. Right. If you have a spiritual basis of like oneness, then you understand that we're all one. We're mirrors of each other. Totally. We're all one being.
Yo, Frank said something really dope.
What did he say?
That, I mean, maybe this is off, but I think it's something to think about. He said on the song Mine, on Endless, he said, I never fucked someone I wouldn't want to be, though.
Yeah.
Like, respect. You know, like, that's like respect. I mean, maybe that sounds wild, but...
all right, so, like, I heard that a couple years ago. And it took me into a whirlwind where I was like, wow, this is very interesting. And then you still have these, like, urges or whatever.
Of course.
You know, whatever.
Because it's a system. It's a system.
So then you sitting there like, all right, let me find the people who I can fuck that are kind of...
in that system. Still running that old OS.
Still OS. So you gotta change your mindset around that. And then it got me to a point where I was like, okay, I just can't mess with nobody. Like, I just can't.
Right. Right.
Can't do it. Like,
that's when you find that one though, when you get asexual. Somebody's like, cause man, when people are attracted, you attract what you are. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, so when you hit a certain point where you've been working on yourself, the things that actually come to you, the things you don't gotta go out of your way and chase and all that, right? Like the things that actually come to you are what you actually need.
So how's that like manifested in other ways other than a relationship?
Right. Yeah.
How does that manifest? Good and bad.
Whew. You know, musically, it happens a lot where it's like
butterflies.
Beautiful.
While we talk about attractive,
right? Here we are. Everything you need, you have. And we think about what we don't have. We think about all these different things. And I've met recently one of my collaborators that worked heavy with me on this record is a brother named Neon Phoenix. And he used to be in a band. He used to be he's in Nas's band. Okay. Whenever Nas is touring with a full 6-piece, he's in that, and he was musical director for that. And him and I were both kind of, I call it like in the same graduating class, you know, like musicians coming out in like 2008, 9.
Right.
And
like T-Pain.
Yeah, exactly, like T-Pain, right? It was my brother T, saying like I know this. But anyway, you have to be ready to die and then come back alive. And I look at it, when I say that, I mean you have to be ready to reinvent yourself. And when we came back, we went through all the things that we thought we wanted. And now we've met each other at this point where we're like, damn, we both went through all the, you know, the confusion of what we thought we wanted, right, and all the hype and all of this. And how do you survive? Like I heard De La say, it's not about being cold or hot. It's about whether you can weather being cold or not. And that's the thing. It's like when you're not hot, that's when you should be doing the most work. That's training. Yeah. And I found that I got aligned with this person at the time that I needed to. We're both in the same stages of our career, but you have to trust that. Right. I think when things get really murky and weird, or when we don't see the results that we want, right, and then we just change the entire recipe. We're not still training at that thing. We're like, okay, that doesn't work. All right, you know? And a lot of what we believe will work or not is actually a reflection of, has society accepted what I'm doing? And a lot of times society actually accepts, what they really accept is you being you. The most you that you are. The more you, the more meat up I got. Right. Like everything started to flow. Yeah. Everything started to flow. It was like, man, I just became more me. There was a barber I was sitting with the other day, and they asked me like, so like with all the new stuff that's been happening for you and everything, what has changed? Yeah, come right there.
Yeah. I didn't want to interrupt you if it was an interview.
No, it's all good. So it wasn't a matter of me changing what I do per se.
Oh, you were talking about the barber?
Yeah, the barber is like, what do you think has been the key for the past like year? All these cool things are happening. And I was like, yo, I didn't actually. It's the fact that I didn't change. It's the fact that I stayed who I was and understand that everything moves cyclically. Everything is in a cycle. So it's like, at some point it becomes your turn, but if you're not ready, because you stop training. Right. You got to be training the whole time. Yeah. And I think the world started to get ready for something different. Because it's like, damn, we can only hear the same kind of ideas. Yeah. It's 4 different songs. Right. Over and over. Right. And then how many times are we gonna hear the drill beat? Right. And somebody like, yeah, same thing. And it's fine because all that has a role, right, you know? And it has an origin. That's probably rooted in, you know, the templates are deep for a lot of things. Even like with the mumble rap, it's like some of those patterns and those things resonate with people because those are ancient, those are African. Yeah. Those are, you know, like those are chants too. Right. You know, I mean, maybe what they're saying might not be, you know, the most uplifting thing, but the reason it resonates is beyond, you know, what we understand. Right. Even, you know, there's certain.
Wow. So it's tapping into the ancestors. Yep. Not necessarily saying the right thing.
Yeah, exactly. But also these people are like 22. Yeah. I was saying some fuck shit at 22. Yeah. You know, like these young kids, like they're gonna figure it out. And then I'm starting to see our music mature actually. Like hip hop is still a very young genre. Yeah. And literally hip hop is, to me, it's collage. So it's like taking jazz drums, rock, like sounds or like distortions, and you got, you know, there's people that are rapping over like samba There's like everything. Basically, hip hop is like taking everything that already existed and being like, well, I have something to say, in a modern, contemporary way, whatever. But yeah, I think that where we're at is a really interesting place. And I was at this thing at USC, and I met Ali Shaheed Muhammad from Tribe Called Quest, and they had this whole panel about hip hop and where it's going and what it's doing and all this stuff. And I hate those conversations because it's
hip hop ain't shit anymore.
Yeah, exactly. It's so much better when I was a kid, you know, whatever. But I was like, yo, I just had to raise my hand and say something. I just remember saying, we're still growing, and we have to look at this thing like when you first start growing your dreads out. The shit look weird in the beginning, dog. like,
no hang time.
Yeah, nothing.
You look like homeless.
Nothing. You know, like you got, it's like greasy and weird, and it's like, is your shit laying down or is it up? Or what's going on? But so I feel like we're in that in between, and now we starting to have that new growth.
Right.
We starting to have that new growth, and all I want to be is basically the option, the vegan option on the menu. I don't need to be like the main shit people are pulling up all the time for. But if you eat that type of shit, we got that type of shit. That. So that's my whole thing, is like, I'll just be the vegan option. Y'all could try to be whatever. That's just not me. So just me up. Like I meet the fuck up right now.
Back to the vegan real quick. What makes you want, other than growing up vegan, like what do you get from it?
I find that I have a lot of energy. And I find that when I gave up dairy, I started getting sick less. You know, people just like, oh, I just got a cold because you just got a cold. It's like, nah, there's a lot of mucus being produced by bacteria. Yeah, exactly. And so I just look at it like my immune system is at a higher level, and I have a bit more energy. And now I'm working on my portions too. It's like, how much am I eating at once?
Right.
Because I could like go crazy on some unhealthy vegan food, like nuts. It's just like have the itis.
Bowl of guac.
Right, like to the
I
face.
had guac last night. I had guac and some chips, Homeboy's chips, and I was smashing.
Oh my god, the Homeboy chips.
Oh my god,
they're so greasy.
So I was at the crib like watching Black Mirror, eating Homeboy's chips.
What season are you on?
I'm on season 4, but I'll finish episode 1. And I was like, all right, it's like 12:30, maybe I should go to sleep. I went to sleep after like the day, and I woke up heavy. I was like, I had vegan cereal, or like I had like shredded wheat cereal, and blah blah. It was all healthy. I'm like, yo, you ate at midnight.
Exactly.
Bro. Your body is doing work.
That like, part. Absolutely. So I'm definitely trying to eat before 9:30. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's even cutting it pretty close, but I'm trying to, but at the same time, I think another thing that plays a role in our health are like where we live, where we stay. Are we growing our own food? And a lot of people where I came from are not in that position to be able to have a garden. My parents have a garden, but they're in their 60s. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't always have a garden. But I think it's us coming together and being like, yo, I'll grow the basil. Y'all grow the broccoli. Right. Like the homie that has the space to do that. And I just think it's about communicating what we need as a community, and then working together. And I think community was the dopest thing I brought with me from 2017 into 2018, was knowing that I'm not a lone wolf, knowing that I'm not crazy. Like that I have friends that are that are trying to do better. And I think, even in hip hop, you see teams and crews get on. Communities. Basically, people are buying into the fact that you have a community. So I feel really like privileged to be a part of the community that I met you in, and like just continue to grow.
Man, me too. Man, got 2 more questions. One, if you could have a billboard over the whole city, what would you put on it?
Oh man, that is a great question. Whew. What would I say or do?
It could be moving.
Right, exactly. I think mine would definitely be moving. I think what I would do, yo, is like have a channel of all the homies' films and work and all the things. It's like, let's bring all that together and just display like art that comes from here. Like, because I think the biggest thing, like, I could put a big message and have it resonate with people, or, you know, whatever it is, but I think the best thing I could do is to pay it forward and open the door for others. So I think, like, even if it was like the homie has a video where this guy just keeps falling down the stairs, like it's like, if that was hilarious, and it's like, yo, I can put someone on to this idea of falling is probably what we're all doing in this life anyway, and bring like a meaning that isn't so obvious. But I think what I would definitely do, I call it like, you know, like, if this album that I'm working on, Colored, opens more doors, it's like opening doors, then I hope that when I walk through it, I can hold it open for somebody else. So if I was to do that, I would take a month of collecting everybody's works and visuals and have a visual mixtape. I think I would do that.
That'd be fly.
You know, run 24 hours a day. How amazing.
I got something for you.
I know.
The last question is, if you could spell success in one word, what does success mean to you, and like what one word would you use?
Ooh, if I could. Sustainability. I think sustainability is the definition of success for me, because we can all do great things, but can it keep going? You know, how do we keep going? We can start businesses, we can collaborate together, but if it's not a model that can sustain, then it'll be over. So I think for me, I want to see it last, and I mean, I strive for longevity myself, but that has everything to do with sustainability, and sustainability is about how we can impact where we are in a positive way that doesn't, you know, disintegrate the future. It's like, you know, like, I love lawns that don't have grass on them. Like, it's a more sustainable model for stone. It looks better. Succulents. It just looks better. But I think trying to figure out ways that we can sustain ourselves away from these systems that are oppressing us. And I would say, like, looking at the Black Panthers, creating the meal program that they had, that was a sustainable model, and I think that was the most dangerous thing. That was the most dangerous things that the Black Panthers did. It wasn't holding guns in pictures outside. It was creating sustainable models where they did not need assistance of the government. So I think success to me is sustainability.
Wise words. Decent man.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much.
For sure.
Indeed.
Love. That's crazy. Bars, man. That's
Peace.